Hello, beach friends, and welcome to Southeast Florida. I would like to acknowledge something I think that we can all agree on. I think on some level we're all searching for the same thing: understanding, acceptance, peace. And while my heart and my mind search for things to feed my soul, my brain had another search in mind. So I decided to cut into my beauty sleep and drive across the state so I could experience something different. And I was quite excited to find this limestone formation, so we will get to check that out in a little bit. In my mind, this is what our arrival to the beach would look like: a sweeping view of the majestic Atlantic Ocean. Well, reality is I got a little too excited to go on this adventure, so I got to the beach too early to film. So I killed some time kind of stumbling around in the dark. You really can't see all that much, and you cannot use flashlights because it's turtle season. We'll talk about that. I did get here in time for the low tide. I was kind of hoping to record the sunrise, but all those clouds had a completely different idea. Now, super happy to see seashells. I have driven across the state and there was not much to find, but that's not the case today. Look at that. I realize it's not pristine, but I don't get to see these. This is a long spine star snail, and I don't really get to find those in Southwest Florida where I'm typically shelling. Look at that. You know what that is? That's turtle tracks. And so you might hear a little bit of the rumbling of that ATV in the background. The turtles that come over to the East Coast and lay eggs could be the loggerhead turtle, the green turtle, the leatherback, or the hawksbill. And there's only 7 different species of sea turtles. So 4 of them it's possible that 4 of those species would be laying eggs on this beach. So cool. Now, it's exciting because I'm going to see a couple things that I'm used to. But what I really wanted to find was things that I don't normally see. So if you're ready to see what's out there for us today, let's go to the beach. Okay, the sun is kind of trying to come up. It would be rising in about 2 minutes, but there's a little bit of clouds. So we're not going to get to see that cool sunrise, which is a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay, because I suspect there'll be plenty of other things to delight me. Now that I can finally see, so I was walking past shells and it was driving me crazy because I couldn't see. I didn't know if it was anything good or not. So now that I can finally kind of see what's going on down here. This is a spectral bittersweet. And for me, what's interesting is some of those lines that are going horizontally. Usually they have those vertical lines. So there is a shell I'm used to seeing. That's a calico scallop, that purple and white. And then another spectral bittersweet. Awesome. So a shell I'm used to seeing and one I was hoping to see. And I'm just thrilled that there's seashells here. I've driven across the state and there really wasn't much to find. And that's the chance you take. But not today. Today we'll find all sorts of stuff. I don't know what that is. A little interesting, a little lumpy. Maybe an oyster. Clearly it's been hanging out for a while because even the barnacles are kind of like black. So just something kind of weird. All right, I don't usually see things like that. Oh, now I do love the spectral bittersweets. And I also like the lady in waiting Venus clamshells. Honestly, I think it's because of the name. It's so long. And plus they're a little lumpy and neat. And then the spectral bittersweets, they look like candy. So those spectral bittersweets, I'm going to be really looking for anything super stripy. Oh, there's another one of those long spine star snails. That's got a long name. Aw, I wish it's not complete, but considering what these shells have to get through just to get onto the beach, I'm not entirely surprised. So those are mostly those bittersweets, yeah. Yep. Lovely. They look like caramel or candy. They remind me of candy. So a little bit different than what I'm used to. Yeah, shelling in the water is way different here. I'm used to beaches that are just like kind of gently sloping, whereas the East Coast, a little bit deeper. But I'm going to try my luck in the water here for a minute. All right, got an olive. All right, so that is a lettered olive. That is a very typical East Coast lettered olive shell. They get pretty beat up before they make their way to the beach, but that is a lettered olive. Oh, there's one a roller. Yeah, another one. Just kind of fun. Yeah, another lettered olive. It's big enough that you can your brain can see it, your body can react to get it, because it is tough shelling in the water over here. It is not quite as forgiving as it is on the other coast. Oh, that is so cool. It's so bright. It almost looks like garbage, almost fluorescent. Oh, what are you? I'm going to guess Atlantic thorny oyster. I don't know, but I am loving that yellow color. It's awesome. Oh, yay. Okay, so this is a bittersweet, and there's two different kinds. There's a giant bittersweet and a decussit bittersweet. I really can't tell the difference between the two, so I do think that that's a giant bittersweet, but I don't really know. This is a turkey wing, also known as a zigzag arc. And I will find a couple of cool arcs today. This one I'm used to seeing. It's in really great shape. Yay, yay, turkey wing. So those tire tracks we're seeing, we know that that's from the ATV, the turtle people, marking the nests. And I'm looking for are there little bits of stuff here? So yeah, another one of those little bittersweets. Candy shells. Tiny stuff? Yeah, so yeah, I guess you can kind of find tiny stuff. I don't know for sure. I'm thinking, it looks like a West Indian false seraph. That's what it looks like. Is that what it is? Maybe? So yeah, since I'm just not used to seeing the stuff on this side of the state, just not quite as sure of identifying the shells, some of them anyway. That is a red-brown arc. That, pretty typical for every time I seem to come to the East Coast, I find one of those. They're kind of neat. Yeah. The candy shells. Or I feel like they should call them candy, like caramel shells, right? Candy caramel shells. And the ones that are those, I don't know why, they just delight me. And I know they're really common, but not for me. I have to go all the way across the state to find them. So for me, they're not common. Oh, neither is this. Look at this little striped false limpet. I have found this before on this side of the state. Let's rinse it off. Yeah, that's not a great example. We're going to find a couple. So I will show you a couple more of those striped false limpets. Neat little shell. Now, let's talk about sea glass. So where I am on the West Coast, I don't leave glass on the beach. It takes forever to cook, and I typically remove it from the beach. People walk around barefoot. For example, right there. Yep, barefoot. And so I just feel if I left something sharp on the beach, I'm kind of opening up people for injury, and that's why I remove the glass. I've had other people ask, why do you take it? Why don't you leave it? That's just how I roll. Let me know your thoughts, though. I would appreciate knowing if you had a different opinion about that. This is a little giant bittersweet. I'm really hoping I don't own like a really good big one, so I am on the hunt for one. And that is a kitten paw. They're kind of neat, and I'm curious if that dark area between like the little toes, yeah, it's permanent. I guess that's what it is. It's discolored. So that doesn't appear, and something like that probably would not lighten up even if it was soaked in bleach. Some of that discoloration is for good. What I'm seeing in the water is pretty much the same stuff up on the beach, but I always, if I can, I love shelling in the water, but it can be really frustrating. Sometimes maybe if there'll be a big like thorny oyster, like something that's a different color, maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah, it is definitely different trying to shell over here in the water than it is on the West Coast. I am so spoiled. There's a piece of thorny oyster, which are cool. I do not get those on the West Coast. So it's kind of fun to see those bright reds and yellows. Oh, and that's just a bittersweet, but it's just like a little bit of candy color on that unbow. So that kind of pointy hinge part of the shell is called the unbow. But another neat little bittersweet. Okay, chunk of coral. And we have talked in the past, in Florida, you cannot remove coral from the beach. It is prohibited. And I did a little more digging, and guess what? All coral is protected or regulated by law. You may not collect, harvest, or sell stony coral that comes from state or federal waters. So all coral is protected, not just in Florida. Interesting. Beautiful giant bittersweet. Oh, that's so pretty. So the ones I'm just, as much color, those are the ones that I'm really desiring. The most colorful of those shells. Oh, neato. I don't get these on, or I rarely do. I think this is an eared arc. Oh, and it's a little discolored, just making it a little bit more special. Oh, that's so cool. See, yeah, it's a little common, a little discolored. I think that's fabulous. What are you? So, I did eventually figure out what that shell was. Let's see, I'm looking, is there anybody else here? Because I'm going to go rinse that off, but before I lose my spot, all right, let me just make sure. Okay, I double checked. I'm not leaving anything behind. So, I'm not going to tell you just yet. I'm pretty sure I know what that is, but I'm just going to play, if you happen to know, we can guess together in a little bit because I find a couple more specimens. That one, for whatever reason, again, I think because I'm out of my element, I was just a little unsure. We'll talk about that shell again a little later. Now, this, very smooth. I've never found one of these. So it's not like your regular auger. So I kind of think it's a turd, but I am going to guess. I think it might be Sally's. I might be saying this wrong. Sally's auger? Maybe. So just really cool. I've never found one of those before. So that's just interesting. And then I pair that up with something that's relatively common and that I do find. So these are slippers and that little shelf on the inside. Dead giveaway that those are slippers. But something else that I identified and found. Oh, you are awesome. So this is a limpet. Oh, it's so cool. I've never found anything like that. I got to go rinse it off just so we can appreciate it a little better. Oh, that is so cool. What is it? So I tried to figure out, I think this is a Dyson's keyhole limpet. Oh man, that was neat. And yeah, another giant bittersweet. Might as well grab that too. What a cool, yeah. That limpet was so cool. And I am picking up a lot of the bittersweets because frankly, that's predominantly what is here. And for me, they're uncommon. So while they are common shells, for me, they're not so common, and I'm running around picking up a lot of them. I thought this was actually a flat. It looked rather flat to me, but it's just a calico scallop that's just been kind of rounded circular. All the edges have just kind of been ground down. Well, look at that. Mossy arc. Another neat arc shell, kind of related to all the other arcs. Yep, so that one is called a mossy arc. Someone in their infinite wisdom thought it looked like there was moss on this shell. Not this particular shell, but when they're in really good condition. Okay, there's another one of those shells that I did not identify earlier. All right, so that one is, so I'm kind of like, all right, I'm still haven't quite figured it out. I'm not going to take that broken one. All right, just check out that little piece of bright orange. I think, again, thorny oyster. Okay, what gorgeous treasure is hiding somewhere in here? Oh, another bittersweet. No, giant bittersweet. Or is it one of those, the cusset? I don't know. I think giant. I would have to spend a lot more time over here figuring it out. Nah, don't know. It's okay. Either way, I'm going to hold on to it. If you have an opinion, though, I'd love to know. If you have an opinion on this particular shell, let me know below. Oh, like a little breadcrumb. So that is just a piece of a chestnut turban. So if you find a particular shell or thing over and over and over, you really get to know it well. And so even if you're finding pieces, you know what it is. And then there's other shells. I'll find the whole shell and I just don't know what it is. It's not so easy. It's a challenge sometimes to kind of figure out these shells. Now this one, for example, this is a Donax or a coquina, but I had found one previously on the East Coast and I went down a whole rabbit hole. What is it? Oh my gosh. So it is a coquina. It just looks very different from the ones that I typically find. See, a neat little shell. It just looks so different. A little coquina. Okay, so here's a method. I saw a shell. The waves were going to take it, and so I just stepped on it. And it worked because I just saw something like a different color. Oh, that's so cool. So this is a blood arc, and it's just got that brown discoloration. I don't know what makes it that brown color. I'm assuming stuff in the sand. Oh, what a neat shell. So that's really cool. So I was chatting with another woman about finding shark teeth. And so she said here, like right there where it's kind of wet, that's going to be where you're going to kind of want to look for them. It's hard though, because it's like the first thing that kind of gets covered up by sand. So just if you are somewhere where you're not really sure, look for a local. Look for somebody who kind of looks like they know what they're doing. Ask them. And that's what I do. So at least in the back of my head, I know, all right, I'm kind of looking for shark teeth along with all of the seashells. That is another one of those striped false limpets in a little bit better condition. Neato. Yep. And another lovely spectral bittersweet. A frond oyster. Look at that. So these fellas will kind of hold on to other kind of soft coral and things of that nature. So that is a frond oyster. Oh, another one of those bittersweets, but this one, it's got horizontal and vertical lines. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, a really nice looking spectral bittersweet. All right, so we're finding some pretty good things. Let's see what else in this pretty decent kind of pile. All right, here's an auger. I suspect I will not need to worry if there are any hermit crabs in that shell. Hermit crabs love those shells on the West Coast. But I haven't seen many critters here at all, frankly, when I come over here. Maybe some birds. All right, Imperial Venus clam, where are you? All right, there's another auger. So this is just kind of basically what's here. It's a nice shell bed of things, and then there's other little specimens kind of sprinkled in there. Yeah, any of those very stripy candy shells, I'm going to be grabbing those. Yeah, just all right, that one's. I kind of like the nut brown. That's just the term that kind of popped in my head when some of these little spectral bittersweets, nut brown. That is a crossbarred Venus clam. So that is like one of the most common shells that I see where I'm from. So that's kind of cool to see one of the common shells from the West Coast over here on look at that. West meets East with one of the very common shells of the East Coast. So lots of similarities, but lots of differences. Now, what are you? I don't know. And I was looking at it for a while, like maybe it's a dark seraph. I don't know. Because I'm just not familiar with so some sort of seraph. That's what I'm going to go with. Now, I have a little cooler in my car, so I made my breakfast, and I told you the last time I came over here, it's just so easy. You have this little container, you put some oatmeal, some strawberries, or whatever kind of like fruit you like, sweetener, cinnamon, some milk, and you have yourself breakfast. I just popped it in my backpack, and then once I was hungry, I did remember a spoon, so I was able to enjoy breakfast on the beach. A very easily portable meal. All right, the hunt is still on. Oh, look at that. A broad-ribbed cardita. So that is a shell I am used to seeing. Yeah, cute little thing, you. Okay, what else? What other fun things are going to be here? Oh, another one of those false limpets. Ooh, that's very stripy. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I'm glad I get to see those. And yes, I definitely like looking down, but the view when I pick my head up ain't too bad either. So I'm going to be quiet and let you enjoy some beach time. The water was calling to me, so I started just kind of randomly scooping. And in that scoop, I got that auger that was just kind of sitting there. Yeah, there wasn't too many other interesting things. All right, let's scoop again. So I kind of get a little bit better of a look. Yeah, anything in there? Yeah, so that's it's not a very scientific method for certain. Okay, I didn't grab that spectral bittersweet, but apparently there was a little NASA in there. Oh, I lied. I grabbed the bittersweet too. So I have that bittersweet and the NASA. All right, what is in here? Ooh, glass. All right, it's a little more rounded. I will take that. I might keep it. Take it now, figure it out later. I'm definitely going to keep that little giant bittersweet for sure. So this is kind of fun. At least I'm grabbing, a something something. So I don't know should I keep walking? Should I stay here and grab shells? All right, survey says I am not quite done grabbing stuff from the surf. All right, anything? Oh, kitten paw. Okay, see that? Oh, that's a nice one. It's too bad it's not a lion's paw, but that's okay. We'll take the kitten's paw. Oh, and a piece. Yeah, I think that's a piece of helmet. Just kind of exciting. Pieces of cowries and helmets and things like that, which I just would never find on the West Coast. Kind of cool. Oh, all right. So that thorny oyster, even those hardy shells can get pretty beat up. So another lovely thorny oyster. Aw, so that's a crown conch, or what would have been it. Well, no, it is a crown conch. It's just very broken. So yeah, I do like. I'm curious, like those usually like bay water, so to me it just seems unusual that it would be there. An incongruous arc. Oh, you're so cool. I wish you were in just like a little bit better shape. Yeah, it's okay. I'm still absolutely keeping you. And just again, it's not common for me. Oh, that is so cool. I think it's literally the first or second one I've ever found. Oh, that's neat. Oh, well, hello, beautiful. Oh, yeah. I was really hoping for a couple of those Imperial Venus clams. These shells are also called wedding cake shells. The last time I was here, I found quite a few. Thank you, Juno Beach. One is sufficient. If I get more, great, but I really did just want to find one. It's a little broken. That's okay. Oh, they're so cool. The Imperial Venus clam. Yay! All right, still marching down. So, oh yes, I had spoken to someone who said, yeah, down by the rocks, and I didn't know what she meant until I got to here. So this is neat. This is limestone, and limestone is a sedimentary rock, and it is basically composed of calcium carbonate. And guess what shells are made out of? Calcium carbonate. So Florida's foundation is primarily composed of limestone, which is the result of millions of years of marine sediment accumulating and then making this rock. Oh, hello, thorny oyster. Now, it does predominantly look like right here, it's all smushed up as all those bittersweets, but I'm going to spend a couple minutes. There's got to be something else here. Just really kind of neat. Oh, all right. The stuff that's colorful is easy to pick out. Oh, this is just so neat. What a shell pile. Okay. So this is one of those either giant bittersweets or maybe decussit. Yeah, I'm going to go with giant just because I can. And I think I'm going to use that as a scoop because if I can kind of like move some of these things around, maybe there's a little something underneath, or at least, just kind of shift the things around a little bit. I mean, there's just bittersweets as far as the eye can see. Yep, and here's a giant one. Fabulous. I'm looking for those anyway. Yeah, I like those. All right. I know it looks like 99.9% bittersweets, except for you. Now, this is a chestnut laterus. This is also called the common lesser tulip shell. Don't find a lot of gastropods over here, but the ones I do find are pretty cool. That's a chestnut laterus. Really cool gastropod that I don't ever get to find on the West Coast. And look at that rather impressive piece of beach glass. Now, something like that I would consider to be quote-unquote legitimate. So I'll hold on to that big hunk of beach glass. Now, that shell that I've been kind of not really saying what it is, that I believe is a tinted cantharus. So all those pieces, and once I finally found this one, I'm like, you know what? I think all those other ones were tinted cantharus. So this limestone is fascinating. And these formations, they date back millions of years. And they were created by the remains of marine organisms. Now, limestone is really interesting. It's also very porous and is absolutely crucial for Florida's freshwater supply. Now, it can dissolve, and that creates sinkholes and springs and caves. Florida is fascinating. Oh, there's just so much to appreciate here. Like this shark eye. Oh, that's neat. That's in great condition too. Also called a moon snail. So that particular type of moon snail is called a shark eye. Here is another one. Another shark eye. I wonder why shark eye. I think there's other shells they call whale's eye. Just neat. Neato. All right. And I see a little flash of orange I'm going to check out. Another thorny oyster. Cool. I do like those neat colors. It's so hard. I imagine you'd really need to snorkel or dive to really get those in good condition. And just for a second, I want to do a little housekeeping. I don't know if you know, but I do have a second YouTube channel. I call it SWF Beach Life Stuff. And basically what I do is I make like beach walks after I create these videos. Now over there, I do have this one video that's really kind of special, the children's original ocean story. So I do encourage you to go check that out. I will put a link in the description box below. All right, another one of those. Okay, so that first one I found was not in great condition. All the other ones have been pretty good. So we have a striped false limpet and another giant bittersweet. Awesome. And so basically, I came over here to see different stuff. Here is a piece of a lion's paw. Yes, it would have been absolutely awesome if I found a full one. But again, I just came here to find different stuff. So in that regard, I'm going to say mission accomplished. I did get to see a bunch of different shells. Look at this. Now, this is rather unique. It is a piece of a flat. So yeah, it is definitely flat, but look at, it's like the ocean made this little medallion. It's like all ready to go for jewelry. I'm not going to keep it. I am totally kidding. I absolutely kept that. So that did make its way into my shell bag along with this. Now, this is almost a pristine olive for over here after getting bashed up. Nice looking lettered olive. Now, this shell I got really excited about. Oh, maybe this is a giant coquina. What is this? I'm not used to seeing like the purple, but I don't know. It looks like some sort of clam. Maybe it is a worn down coquina. I don't know, but it's not the right shape for a giant coquina. So it's a mystery. I don't know what that is other than kind of pretty. And can we just appreciate for a second, I know I picked up some earlier, the lady in waiting Venus clam. This particular species, or this particular shell, so beautiful. Normally, they kind of they have a couple little splotches on there. It's lovely, lovely shell, but nowhere quite as majestic as that. So I think that particular shell was pretty nice. And I'm going to remove this garbage. Luckily, it wasn't too much garbage, but I will remove everything that I can. So I had a great time. I will plan differently next time. I maybe sleep in a little bit more, but I did have a nice time coming over here, getting to see all of those different treasures. Now, I did take a little bit of garbage, including beach glass, but we'll talk about that in a second. So 0.55 ounces of garbage in total. I've removed a little over 52 pounds of garbage from the beach. So here are the bittersweets, or at least most of the really colorful ones. Oh, they just look like candy. And then the giant bittersweets, with maybe the decussit bittersweets, I don't know. Some discolored shells because they were pretty. I did keep some of the beach glass, the legitimate, a bunch of these arcs, the blood arc, the eared arc, the incongruous arc, looks like some of those olives, the thorny oysters, the lady in waiting Venus clams. I don't want to forget about the limpets over there, that weird thing that we picked up in the beginning, some of those augers, the star shells, some kitten paws, some its and bits and pieces, some brown red arcs. Or is it red-brown arc? Red-brown arcs, turkey wings, shark eyes, the cantharus, the mossy arc, broad-rib cardita, and then the spectral bittersweets already talked about. My favorites were these. Now, I've never found a limpet that awesome, or that chestnut lattice. And then I really did like the imperial Venus clam, that mystery shell, a couple of those spectral bittersweets, and even that coquina. I just thought that the coquina was kind of cool. So different shells, mission accomplished. Patreons, please know that I was thinking of you as I was getting up early and driving across the state and just appreciating your support. So thank you. Thank you so much for supporting me. And everybody else that watches, thank you. Thank you so much. And if you have any kind of opinions on sea glass, by all means, leave that down below. Next week, we're heading over to Sanibel. I've already told the Patreons why I might be excited about that, so you're in the know. Everybody else, as always, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you again next Sunday.